to SQL Server 2008. Now in this video we would be looking at how to create tables in database, and we will also look into how to add different kind of columns into the tables. Now the first part would be how to create a table to a database. Now let's try. In the previous portions we have seen how to create a database. So first what we are going to do is we would be creating a database. Let's say create database bookstore. Now generally here why we are creating a bookstore, let's try to find out that there could be too many dimensions for a bookstore. So the normal usual, we are just taking a simple example where we can correlate the different kind of database and its components very easily. So let's try creating a database bookstore first, and then we will see. Okay, so no error, no query is absolutely error free. So let's hit on execute. All right, so it is executed. Now we'll see that bookstore is created. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to create tables to bookstore. Let's create different kind of tables. Now the first table, in bookstore there could be too many things, like we say that the books, different kind of books would be there, then the different kind of books written by different kind of authors, then the different kind of price strategy. So let's try segregate the entire things. So what we do, we create one table as book dimension. Now in book dimension we will see that the book IDs, whether it belongs to certain categories, then we will also look into the price ranges, then we will also look into the authors. So the things related to the book dimension, we call it as our first table. So let's try creating the second table as the different kind of prices which are associated with these categorization of the books. So we will say price dimension as the second table. And then the third table, let's try say that different kind of publish the books which are published, the languages in which these are available, and then the authors who have written that, the different kind of author profiles. So what we are going to do, we are going to have here three basic tables. Let's try create table book dimension as the first table. So this is the general syntax. The general syntax is create table followed by table underscore name. Now generally whatever the database will be highlighted here, under that database by default SQL will create that table. So you need not to mention the database separately here. So I'm writing create table underscore name. So here let's try create the tables, create table, I say book dimension as the number 1. Now let's see if this create table book dimension is having any errors. Okay, now it says incorrect syntax. Now here, why is it saying incorrect syntax? The reason why is it saying incorrect syntax, because though we have mentioned the table name, but we have not mentioned the different kind of columns which are going to be inside it. So for that purpose, let me tell you that when you're writing create a table underscore name, then it also should be followed by column name 1, followed by the data type, what it is having, then column name 2, followed by the data type. Now when I say data types are, for the time being, let us try understand these are the ways by which it identifies whether it is a characteristic, whether it is a variable, whether it is a whether it is a integer, whether it is a long integer, whether it is a currency type. So we will be looking at data types in detail in the upcoming videos. However, for the time being, we'll just understand that this is a basic syntax of the table. So I'm going to create a table book dim. In book dimension, I say book ID as the first column. No, I'll just say BID, book ID as, okay, all right, as book ID, BID. Now here the data type would be definitely integer because it is going to be a number. So I would write as int, or integer, you write completely, it's one and the same. And then I write that apart from the book ID, I'll also write that the book name. Book name, just mention it as B name. Book name should be varchar, so I will mention it as n varchar. I'll tell you the difference in the upcoming sequences. Now here, if you want, you can also specify the limit. I say 50, n varchar 50. So BID, that is book ID, that is the integer type. B name, that is n varchar 50. Then I also say that now book ID is done, book name is done, book author, we'll say number of the pages, so I'll say book page. I will say this as the integer, and that's it. For the time being, let's see only 3 columns. And then what I'm gonna do, let's see if this is going to have any errors. So here you can see now it does not talk about any errors. So that means when you're trying to create a table, by default it will be created under the database whatever is mentioned here. And it has to be also, it needs to have the different columns, because the table is nothing but it is the data in columns. So here you can see different kind of columns. So here we have just mentioned 3 columns in this, that is a book ID, book name and book page. So I'm gonna hit execute now, and let's see if the table book dim is created under this. Okay, now book ID, book dimension is created. So here you can see that this one is created. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to highlight, I'm going to see whether this table is created or not. Now to see the table, I'm just writing a single select statement, which in upcoming sessions I'll definitely talk about. Star from, now what is the table name here? This is a book dim, so I'm going to write book dim. You can see here book dim is already come up, so I'm gonna hit enter, and then I'm gonna see if it is going to have any errors. No errors, so hit on execute. Here you can see that it is actually showing me 3 different columns: book ID, book name, book page. So these are the 3 columns that we actually created. Alright, let's create one more table. Create table author dim. Now here I say author ID as the int, author name as the n varchar 50. Then I say author age as int, and I say author location as n varchar, because it's going to be alphabet, again 50. And varchar 50. Then I say author ID, author name, author age, author location, author books. I say how many books they have published so far. This is going to be int. And I say author preferences, no, price band. I say price band, which category does it fall into, so I would mention it as price band. This is again going to be integer. Okay, now let's try hit execute. Let's see if any errors in this. So there are no errors because the command has completed successfully and queries executed. So let's hit on execute. So this one is also executed. Now what I'm going to do is, instead of booked him, now I'm going to select star from, this time authored him, right, to see if in case the columns have been created perfectly and the table is created perfectly. So here the table name is authored them, and while this star, it's a while characteristic search. It brings out each and everything whatever would be there in this table, though this is not advisable to use in real time. However, we'll see what is the standard way of extracting the information from any table in the upcoming videos. So let's hit on passing and then execute. Here you can see AID, a name, a age, a LOC, a book, AP ban. Now here you can see here these were the column names that we had, right, 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 right. So now the easiest way to create any table, by default always remember that whatever the database is here, it will automatically be created into that database. And then to create a table, the standard format is create table followed by table name followed by the column followed by the data type specification. In the upcoming videos we will see how to insert data into these tables. Thank you for watching this video.